Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the season 2 premiere of Midnight Popular. That was a drum roll, by the way, just clarifying.
It was a great drum roll.
Love it.
Yeah.
I'm destined, if I don't make it as a podcaster, I could definitely be a drummer. So we are here with Veronica, Myrna, or Mem, and Aislene, and we are so excited to do episode 59.
Dude, this worked out so perfectly. I had no idea that this was what I signed up for.
But hey, here we go.
Yeah, exactly. Season premiere, because we signed up for like all the way through 69 like months ago, like before the end of season 1. And yeah, now we're in season 2. So I think we should start with the discussion of what we started discussing before, which is the change in the artwork. So yeah, what have you guys noticed? You called it a glow up.
Yes, there was definitely a glow up happening here with both Poppy and Candy. Like Candy was like, whoa. I was like, damn, I got such a girl crush on her now. Yeah, it's phenomenal. It's insane.
It's like everything though, like with the attention to details and like the little things, like even just the first few panels, right? Where like you see the shading of the trees and like it's almost 3D. Like the trees look 3D. It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, like I was showing Scott, I guess he's like now my husband and stuff, but I was like showing him the other day. I was like, this is insane. How like her art just got better, and he thought it was a photo because it was drawn so well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, like of the ramen. I showed him the ramen photo or the soup photo. Yeah, and he thought it was or panel, and he thought it was a photo.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Like even the first panel to me looks like it like almost like something out of like the K-dramas I watch. It almost looks so real, just that shot, and it looks so good. The perfect what would you call it? The shadows of the trees and stuff like that.
The
so
shading.
Good.
Yeah, like what I definitely noticed is that she definitely spent a lot more attention to detail to shading and highlighting to bring out like all the features. It's I didn't even know she could get better, but she got better. Like, she was already perfect, and then she exceeded perfection. I don't even know how someone can do that.
I think it's very inspiring as somebody, like if you're a person starting out, to know that, and especially if you've seen the early Vanilla Poppin', like the canvas version, it's very different. And so you could it's affirming, and you start at the bottom and you just keep at it and keep at it and keep at it, and you get better and better.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like that's for anybody that's starting any sort of like venture, whether it's writing or any creative art. Like obviously the first few tries are going to be like not as good, but if you keep going and you keep drawing and you keep like
just to stick with it, the discipline is so hard. So you have to be so disciplined to just keep going.
Yeah.
So ready to dive in?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so we have this shop that looks like a restaurant, and we see somebody saying, I'm really sorry, but you don't quite fit the bill for the job. Thanks for coming down, and better luck next time. And you see Poppy walking out of there and then looking back at the restaurant, and there's a sign, and it says, part-time waitress needed. Don't miss out on this amazing chance for great career advancement opportunities and fantastic job remunerations with us. Apply now. And they have a very, very short list of requirements. We prefer you to be young, pleasant-looking, fun-loving, well-mannered, cheerful, service-oriented, energetic, and more. You should be able to carry out duties diligently, proactively, and with enthusiasm, and work exceptionally well in a team or on your own. Bonus points if you have your own vehicle to help with order delivery. Smiley face. Oh, by the way, medical benefits not included for this position.
Poppy's reaction to that, though.
Well, screw you too.
Oh, right? I mean, when you read the description, you're like, that is Poppy in every way. So it's like,
really is.
She not qualified. Like, how does she not fit?
It's also very telling too, because it's like it's It's like, yes, here's a part-time job where you have to be absolutely perfect in every way, but we're not going to give you any medical benefits or any sort of, incentive to work here, but you have to work really hard. And you're just like, really? Come on.
Really? Makes no sense. I think it's the whole not having a car thing. Vehicle, whatever.
Probably.
Yeah.
But you need the job to get the car so you can pay for the car to get to your job.
I know. Catch 22. People just get stuck in.
Mm-hmm.
But even when she's making this face, though, it's so adorable.
It is cute.
She is so cute.
So cute. She is so cute.
So despite getting rebuffed and, with that honestly impossible and like annoying job advertisement, she still is optimistic. And she's like, one more opening to try out for, 5th time's the charm. I mean, she's been plugging away. She does not.
Yeah. And that's draining, going from one job interview to the next and not getting it.
Yeah.
Like, that is rough.
They're disheartening.
It is like,
I feel like a lot of us can kind of feel that, especially because we've all looked for a job and like I've been in that situation where I had to look for a job for the first time in like 10 years or something. And I remember just like going to places and sending my, putting my resume and people legit laughing at me and being like, you just need to do it online. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? We have to do it online now? But you can like circle me out. I'm right here. I could be great. Yeah. You don't know this. But yeah. I just remember being like blown away and being like, come on, I'm right here. Hire me,
Yeah, like if someone just comes in person, why not?
Oh, so, apparently
like,
that's not a thing anymore.
As a small business owner, when someone just kind of walks in asking for a job, when it wasn't ever advertised that we needed a position filled, and it's just awkward.
Oh, that's a little weird. Yeah,
these
were places that
happened. Yeah.
I usually was just like going into places and being like, hey, can I drop off a resume? Like if you don't get a call back, then that's fine. And obviously things have changed in the last 10 years. And, these were like the things that like I found, like my parents would tell me, they're like, just go into a place and ask if they're looking for anybody, but you can't do that anymore.
No.
Yeah, no, not so much. It's not as expected.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, these places are obviously looking for someone. Poppy fits the bill.
And then we find out why she's applying for jobs. She says, okay, fine. So beggars shouldn't be choosers. I need a job for the extra income. Now's not the time to get huffy. Darn it. And she takes her notebook out and she's looking at it and she's like, darn it, I didn't expect to rack up this many expenses so quickly while she's waiting at the bus stop. And she's looking and you see in her notebook, it says, there's a line, an undisclosed amount, Granny, Mrs. Haru, college loan. And she's trying she's trying to calculate her budget. She's like, if I stay home as much as I can, I should save this much on food and transportation. So I'll have enough for rent at the very least. And, she's like, our dean doesn't want anything for the work clothes she gave me, but I should give her a token sum. If I cut this expense out, I'll have enough for that. And I like totally relate because I'm like constantly going over my budget. I'm like, how do I cut this? How do I cut that? How do I earn more? Yes, that is 100% relatable.
Yeah, I mean, she's any young 20-something-year-old knows exactly how Poppy feels. Exactly, where you're just I'm just getting by, and I still need.
Mm-hmm.
I love how like this is like universal though, because we don't necessarily know where Poppy is. She could be anyone in any city, and and you see them and you see her doing this, and you're like, this is pretty universal. You're in your early 20s, you're gonna have a college loan, you're gonna have all these expenses. It's something I feel like anybody wherever they are can relate to, whether if we're like here or in Europe or in Asia, it doesn't really matter. We all relate to this at some point. I haven't been in full-time school in like over a decade and I'm still paying my college loans and I'm just like
I mean I'm lucky enough that I don't have any more, but I mean when it existed it sucked.
Oh yeah,
like everyone gets, especially in the US, you get fucking slammed by college loans. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. Yeah,
sure is.
Yeah, and it also, of course, like if you want like a good job at a good like company, you have to have all the degrees. and rack up all the debt.
It was you have to have all the degrees plus, you know, experience all by the time you're like 15, you know, to get a decent job.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
And that's that's something that I found. Like what I do in as like a radio announcer, you do not need to go to school for. Like there's no way you need to go to school to learn how to be on the radio, right? Like
Yeah.
you could be trained on the job for like 2 weeks and like figure it out along the way, right?
Yeah.
But we go to school for 2 years and rack up a bunch of debt to go into radio, and you have to have a radio program for this, that, or whatever, right? When it's
Yeah.
like when you actually like get the job and get on there, like they're having to reteach you a bunch of stuff anyways. So there's so many jobs out there that like obviously like there's jobs that you need to go to school for, right?
Mhm.
But a lot of stuff is very on the job training that they could do, but they don't, because you need to have a degree. And then you know.
Yeah. Like my husband doesn't have a degree, and he knew that it was something that was always going to hold him back. But at the same time, you know, he was with his company he used to work for Verizon Communications.
Yeah.
And I mean, he was an engineer, network engineer, and then became like network architect and stuff like that. And so as he's like going through job interviews, like get different positions and stuff like that, he's just like, shit, I don't think I'm going to get it because I don't have a college degree. I'm like, what is a college degree that you would have gotten in like 20 something years ago that had nothing to do with computers or networking in any capacity? Well, how would that degree help you now anyways? Like, because it wouldn't, you know, like his director had a degree. His degree was in music.
Yeah.
And he was a director at a major tech company. It's like, what is that? I was like, and I would always be like, you know, if they tell you that you need a degree, you just be like, oh, Mark Zuckerberg doesn't have a fucking degree. So and he rules the entire world. He legit rules the whole world, and he doesn't have a degree. He left after 2 years. So really, who needs one? Especially in the tech world.
Oh yeah, definitely not in tech.
Yeah.
I actually work in like editing, and let me tell you, my degree was in history. So I edit like science stuff. It's not even like related, but you know.
It's usually how it is.
We could go on this topic for forever, but we probably should get back.
Sorry.
Sorry.
So she's waiting at the bus stop, and the bus is approaching, but Poppy at this moment gets a text message, and you know, she's tapping out on the text message, she is focusing on it, and she's like, Ben, but the bus passes her by, and she's like, shoot, the bus. She runs after it. We get this aerial view. She's like, excuse me, please wait. She's so polite. She's like talking to this bus that, like, first of all, it's an inanimate object. The driver probably doesn't hear her, and she still says excuse me, even though she's panicking.
I feel this one in my soul as somebody who's had to run for the bus, and you're like, please wait. Oh my God.
Yep.
Yeah. That's it. Again, God, Lily is so good at just drawing and creating like realistic scenarios.
Yeah.
Not just characters, but just general scenarios. Like everyone knows how that feels.
I'm actually also just looking at like the attention to detail in that panel of her running after the bus. Like you can like look into what looks to be like a restaurant and see like the tables, but she really didn't need to go that far into detail, but she did. Good job, Lily. Like,
yeah. I mean, you know, you can just, it's insane. It's all insane.
Yeah.
Like you can even see there are like people in this little restaurant. You have to look real hard, but they do exist.
Oh my God, you're right.
Wow.
I didn't even notice that.
What? Wow.
Yeah.
If they don't turn Midnight Poppyland into a K-drama, I will riot. Riot!
Yeah, but who would they ever find for Tora? That would be so hard.
Matthew from Card. Big Matthew from Card. Look him up and then be like listen to him talk. He's from like LA, and he has that LA like accent.
Big Matthew from what?
Card. K-A-R-D. Card. This is, let me tell you, I have put so much research into this subject. Midnight Poppyland is a K-drama. I've got everyone.
You're not. Why You and I, why don't we make an episode together of your
Yes.
cast choices for K-drama Midnight Poppyland?
Absolutely. I actually
Okay.
have it for Let's Play and Midnight Poppyland. It's like
Okay, let's
all
do it.
out there. Let's do it.
Let's do both of them then. I've never done Let's Play content, but I love Let's Play. So yeah, let's do it.
Whoever this guy is, he definitely would make for a really good Damien.
Ooh.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
Amber Lou from FX.
There you go.
She knows everything. Myrna has her K-pop channel. She knows all.
I love it.
Yes,
I love
I have
it.
my own YouTube channel. Come visit me.
Mem goes K-pop.
Yes.
Yeah.
So anywho, we now go to a scene. It's a little bit later in the day. You can see that the sun is setting. Patty pointed out that, you know, when you when you miss a bus, or like even in buses in cities that like aren't very bus friendly, it'll take you forever to take a bus, where like, you know, it would take you like 5 minutes, 10 minutes to drive there. So by the time she's gotten to where she has to go, it's already like the sun is setting. And we see some guys hanging around on the street. So, you know, looking a little rough, like it's trying to kind of set us into the neighborhood. You know, I mean, I don't know. I guess they could be interpreted as neutral, but it does look a little gangstery. And Poppy's sitting at a table, and someone serves her, you sliced beef noodles, clack. And is this the picture, the part that you showed?
Yeah, I showed this to Scott.
Oh, it
And
looks
he was-
so good.
I was like, dang, I need that soup in my life.
It does look so good.
Oh my gosh, MPL cookbook coming up.
I know,
Yes.
Lily just draws food so good.
Wait, go to
She draws it
Darla's channel.
so well.
Darla always makes like these MPL inspired like boxes, lunch boxes.
Mhm. Yeah.
We have so many like
This one
really talented people in the fandom. It's fantastic.
I love it. It's what makes the fandom so much fun. It's like that.
It is.
Everyone's generally really awesome.
So anyway, we have Poppy sitting at a table, and there is Ben, our teenager, back again. And he's like, this place serves the best sliced beef noodle soup in Narin City. She's like, whoa, it smells amazing. And he's like, you won't find noodles that's good anywhere else, not even at those fancy city restaurants. So, you know, it's like this, already you can see that he is coming from an angle of like, oh, I'm not like from those fancy city restaurants. You know, I'm not of the, of the class that has money to go to those restaurants. And he's like, but I got it better. You know, it's a fairly typical response, a little bit of like a sour grapes kind of thing. And I'm not saying maybe these beef noodles really are good, but it's also, I think, a bit of self-preservation where you're like, I have it better than even those fancy people. It's like, I can't have it, but I still got it better. So like, I don't need them.
As somebody who grew up, I wouldn't say like the hood, but you know, my parents were definitely like afraid to send me to the local middle school because of all the gang violence and stuff like that there. And I knew like a lot of gang members that went to my high school and all that kind of stuff. But poor areas do have the best food. Like I have to say,
Legit.
legit. Like I grew up with. I grew up with mostly like Mexicans, you know, fellow Mexicans and Filipinos. And let me tell you, one thing that Asians and Hispanics all have in common is that we can take the cheapest food available and make it so good.
Oh
Like
yeah,
100%.
for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Best places to eat like around this area, around the Washington DC area, are just like hole in the wall places run by mom and pops. They're so good. And then whenever I go to a fancy restaurant that tries to like redo it, I get real angry because I'm like, why is this banh mi sandwich $20? I can go to Eden Center where all the Vietnamese people live and have restaurants and get this exact same sandwich for like $4.
Yeah. I actually went to
much better like coffee.
my husband's family, he lives in he's from the Midwest, and he actually moved us out here. But one time when I was pregnant with our middle child, we were visiting from San Diego, where I'm from, and they took us to like this really fancy Mexican place. And when I got my food, he's like, I saw you look at me over the table, like with just utter sadness in your eyes. And it was true. I was like, you know, that scene, look how they've massacred my boy, you know, like.
Yeah.
So Ben might be onto something here. He's maybe
totally
not
onto
wrong.
something. He's not.
Yes.
He's most likely not wrong.
Yeah.
No, street food is honestly like the best food.
It is.
Like sometimes, like this sounds ridiculous, but the best hot dog I ever had was at this corner store in the middle of nowhere, South Carolina, where the hot dogs were pink and they put chili on top of it. And I'm not joking. It was the best hot dog I've ever had in my entire fucking life. And this was like,
You're never gonna have it again.
No, I was
No.
shocked. Because my co-host, right, I went down to visit her and she was like, this is the best hot dog ever. And I'm going, we're legit in the middle of nowhere. But it was like that hole in the wall sort of, you know, mentality, right? Just a little bit more rural than this, but
Yeah.
yeah, street food, like, or any sort of like hidden treasures are always the best.
It is legit my goal in life to eat my way through Asia one day. So
Yeah. Oh my gosh, guys, did I tell you? I totally I don't know if this is necessary for here, but I got $226 tickets to Tokyo. Okay.
What?
Can you please bring me with you?
I actually have. I bought for my husband at the same time. I saw the link. 5 minutes later, I bought the tickets. No questions asked. I was like, I'm buying it before it runs out. And then I asked my husband to work if he could go, and he doesn't have enough vacation days, and they don't let him work remotely. And I could work remotely, so he can't go. And I was like, I called them up. I was like, can you switch it for my daughter? And they're like, no. So I still have that other ticket for him. I don't think it gets switched to anybody, but yes, I was like,
give me a guy.
Just
go
by
by
yourself. Be like,
your
"Sucks
name
for
Johan
you."
Shaper. Are you 6'4" and blonde and Dutch?
I'm blondish. Just give me like a few weeks and I can be blonde. And I know German. It's close enough to touch.
That my plan, honestly, like right after this pandemic, because Canada's like closed to the world. But as soon as it's done, I am going to Japan. Like I have it all set up. 2023.
My dad lived in Japan when he was in the Marine Corps, and he keeps telling me he actually I grew up on like all these different like Japanese shows that he used to watch, like Zautuichi, The Blind Samurai, and Godzilla, like the OG Godzilla, Mothra. I love Mothra. Yeah, so it's funny actually. It's like one of the things I was noticing about this episode is that there's like a lot of Japanese influences. I also see a lot of Korean influences, and I'm like, she's just blending the culture, so you don't really know where it is. It's great.
Yeah, no, it's awesome.
Yeah. So Ben continues. Well, actually, she continues. She's like, I don't doubt it, but we're not anywhere near Aries Street, are we? Because she's nervous. And he says, not exactly. It's further down the road. Yeah, still close. Why? This place not upper class enough for you? So he has a chip on his shoulder,
Yeah.
He thinks of Poppy as superior to him in terms of class ranking, and he like feels insecure about it.
Yeah.
Rightfully or wrongfully, that's how he feels.
Yeah. So you can definitely feel it. I mean, he's a kid. He's probably still in his teens. And so he just doesn't really know any better. And he probably doesn't even realize like how offensive he's speaking.
Yeah.
Because it's very offensive. It's a very offensive way to speak to anybody. And and he just does, you could tell he just doesn't get it.
Yeah.
Just doesn't get it.
It can be kind of hard though. Like I actually, grew up in a lower income area. It wasn't poor, there's definitely some people that were just doing just fine. But I grew up lower income, and then I got to college and I got accepted to this like fancy private school, and that was like it was like if you didn't get into Pepperdine University, that's where you went instead. It was like it's near LA. A lot of rich kids went to our school, and it was such a culture shock. So it could be a little of that too. Like she just looks like she's like completely different from her upbringing was definitely different. But
well, you have to also think too, right? Because he's like, what, 16 years old, right? He has a mother who has worked her friggin' ass off, right? As a stripper, right? And then he, like, from what we know from previous episodes, he wants to help her get out of that, like, you know,
That
situation,
lifestyle, and
right?
yeah.
So there is probably like a little bit of that insecurity of like how his mother is being treated with, you know, the sort of work that she's doing, which like in itself is, you know, got like problems of like misogyny and stuff, because sex work is real work. But yeah, it's a very complicated situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
100%. Yeah, very well said. He for sure feels insecure about that.
Yeah.
And Poppy is indignant at that because she also feels like, you know, you don't understand me, right? You don't know anything about my life. And she says, I'm not upper class than you are. I'm just not supposed to be in that area. And when somebody like, you know, I thought about this a lot because like sometimes you hear, and obviously we don't know people from the outside either, but like if you hear someone complaining about something where you're like, I went through way worse things, and why are you complaining about such nonsense? You know, it's hard to hear, so, you know, something like that. But again, anyway, this whole episode we're going to see it's a lesson about judging people.
Yeah.
And Ben goes, are you for real? How old are you? 12? Veronica, exactly what you said. He's like, he's so offensive and he just doesn't know because he
just doesn't get it.
No, he doesn't. It's also really different when that's what you grew up with versus, you know, somebody who's like never been there. For example, one of my friends, I grew up on the beach. Like we were like the last beach town before you hit Mexico. And one of my friends in middle school moved from Minnesota to our place, to our town. And one time when we were in high school, we were all walking around visiting like shops that were on the beach. And we were just walked in barefoot, and she didn't want to go inside because she's like, well, I'm not wearing any shoes. And all of us were like, yeah, so, you know, like, what's the big deal? Like, and we went inside, and the guy was like, you're just going to leave your friend out there? It's like somebody we knew, like I had grown up with. He's like, you're just going to leave your friend outside? It's like, she won't come in. He's like, why? He's like, because she doesn't have any shoes on. And he's like, did you tell her where we live? And we're like, hey, we tried, you know. So for him, like, he's used to it. He's like, his mom works there. He's probably, you know, been on Aries Street a few times. And to him, it's like, it might be, you know, chaotic and like a bad like place, but it's normal. And for her, it's not. So he's, you know, it's just kind of like a clash between, I guess, experience there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can still tell that they have cultural differences.
Yeah.
And different upbringings. Even if they are financially in the same place, they still grew up so vastly different. Yeah.
I actually, we've done some therapy before, and our therapist, which by the way, if you're ever planning on getting married, like best idea ever is to get some couples counseling, because as our counselor told us, he said, everybody and every relationship is in a multicultural relationship, even if you're from the same culture, because neither of you grew up the same way.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Like I would, my husband and I would get into these fights because he would expect me to act a certain way. And I was like, I don't think you understand. You and I are two individuals trying to live within the same house who grew up in vastly different ways. Like, I'm just not going to think like you. I'm just not.
Right, exactly.
No matter how much you want me to think like you, I am not going to think like you. I don't think to just do these little things. Like, that's just not what I do, you know? And he's just like, right, but that's a normal thing. I'm like, to you, it's normal. Shut up. Now you're mean to me. Like, no, your normal is different from my normal. Your normal way of growing up is way different from my normal way of growing up. So you can't say shit like that, because that's mean. Oh, I call him out on his bullshit all the time. I was like, like if we get into arguments, he starts name calling. I'm like, nope, this argument is now invalid. Because
I think that's healthy.
Once you start name calling, you no longer have an argument.
Exactly.
You got nothing left. And sometimes I'll just be like, no, you are 100% the asshole right now. I'm walking away.
That's good. You set your boundaries. Boundaries are good in any relationship.
They are. Yeah. Yeah. Like, I see relationships where there just aren't any. And like you could tell like one person always just kind of concedes. I'm like, oh, that's rough. That's rough.
It makes me think, like, thinking of, like, you know, we haven't even seen Tora, you know, so far. And I'm thinking, like, you know, they come from such different backgrounds, you know, that, you know, it is like complete night and day for them. So, I mean, I wonder if Lily will be putting in like some sort of like marriage therapy or like relationship therapy like later episodes, because like they come from like two completely different worlds. Like there's no way that Poppy can understand Tora, and Tora is definitely not going to be able to understand Poppy, because I mean he didn't have parents who cared about him growing up. So
yeah, but he did have Alice, and he had Joe.
That's true.
Yeah, Alice can be their therapist.
Fred and Fred.
Yeah, and I think this whole arc is going to set up, you know, a confrontation between his world and her world, and another indication of like, can they get along, and can they work it out?
I think too, though, like, because even though Poppy looks like, when we first look at her, we're like, oh, she's totally normal, a normal upbringing. But like, from what we do know about her is she was raised by her single father, and her mom ran off when she was young, and that had to be like hard in its own, you know, situation, right? And then her father passes away when she's still young, and she's raised by her grandmother. Like, so these are things that we see behind the scenes and we know about Poppy, but anybody kind of looking at the surface level of like this young, like very nice dressed, you know, young woman would look at her and be like, oh yeah, she's so privileged compared to me.
Right.
Yeah, and it's all Bensie's. I mean, he admitted it too, where he thought that she was like some exec because of how she was dressed when he first saw her. Yeah. And how she just offered him $50 to like deliver a note. So of course, in his mind, like she has all of it, except for when she had to pay in coins. And then he's like, no, I guess she doesn't have all of it. So,
yeah. He's also young, and like young people don't understand yet that, you know, you can't judge people on the outside, and that, you know, not appearances don't belie, you know, the inside. So I mean, she got her outfits for free, right, from her dean.
Yeah.
I have like fancy cousins who give me their hand-me-downs. So if I ever wear something expensive, it's from them. I never buy it.
Dude, I would go shopping in my mom's closet all the time. I'm like, I'm not advanced enough to buy these outfits, so I'm going in her closet.
I
always do that.
In my 30s with 3 children, and I don't feel like I'm advanced enough to get fancy clothes. So maybe one day, but not.
I can't afford that stuff.
Yeah,
I have to buy it from, you know, online places, right?
Yeah. Like it's been great because as my mother has gotten older, and she's changed her body over time, these clothes no longer fit her as well. So I'm just like, I'll just move this to my closet in my house. I'll just take this one as well. She won't miss it. I'll just.
My secret is going thrift shopping or to like buy sell trade places in like nicer neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's a great way to do it.
Yup.
So anyway, Ben, despite his obnoxious comments, does show that he has a kind heart, because he tells her, anyway, eat up, it's on me, as an apology for to taking your he can't even get the words out, he's so embarrassed.
I know.
And Poppy's nice. You're like, oh, that's okay, at least it's safe and sound with me now, so we know that she has it. I'm sure you had your reasons, just maybe not do it again. I don't think it's worth the risk, you know. So she's being very kind about it and very sympathetic, like she's not chewing him off, she's just gently lecturing him.
Sometimes that happens. Like a couple of years ago, I had a party, right? And it was for my school, like the people I went to radio school with, and one of the schoolmates brought her 15-year-old cousin, who did not look 15, right? He did not drink, but I did offer him a beer because I thought he was like in his 20s. Anyways, long story short, he stole my cell phone, right? And like stole it because I had it like because everybody was like kind of busy, and I had it on like a thing playing music, but I didn't realize that it was gone or whatever, right? I got the cell phone back and it was fine. She felt absolutely horrible, and I was just like, no, it's fine. Like, I'm not gonna call the police or whatever. Like, a kid saw an opportunity. He was 15 years old. I guess he had broken his phone or something like that. And he took it. And I was just like, listen, shit happens. I have my phone back. I'm happy. It's great. It's, you know, so Like sometimes that happens and you just kind of have to show that empathy to, you know, somebody that made a mistake.
Yeah. I mean, as long as, I mean, he's owning it. So
yeah,
he took the initiative to like message her and give it back and take her to dinner. I'm like, that's a very mature way to be when you're a teenager that just, you know, will just snatch things when they see it.
yeah,
Yeah.
Her empathy actually allows him to open up because first he says, you know, he's rude and he's like, yeah, like I'm taking life advice from a dumbass like you. Oh God, Ben, you just like say one nice thing and then you just ruin it.
He's got to make sure that she doesn't, you know, mistake him for just being a, you know, soft little marshmallow, which he is. Yeah. But you know.
She's like, don't be rude to your seniors.
It's cute.
It's so cute.
But then he does like take a moment. You could tell he's kind of like thinking while he's eating.
Yeah.
And then he decides to open up to her and tell her, give her an explanation for why he took it. And he says, my mom works at that club. I was trying to get money to clear her debt so she can quit. But I guess I'm better off, I don't know, staying out of trouble and finding a job that pays well or shit. He's looking around to look out for her, even if we can't get more money right now. So I mean, that was pretty brave of him. I'm sure it's not easy for him to talk about that. He certainly didn't talk about it before, but you know, he feels, I think that her reaction, and Patty talked about this in her analysis, her reaction allowed him to feel comfortable enough to say that to her, that he wouldn't be judged.
Yeah, because she's just being very open and showing that she's not judging him.
Right.
No matter what the situation is. She's like, it's all good. I'm not judging. You know? And I think that's fantastic. But that also just shows the kind of person Poppy is. She's just this open person that accepts people for who they are and doesn't see the worst in them just because they did something bad. And that's a really hard thing. You know, a lot of people can't think that way. A lot of people are like, you fucked up that one time, obviously you're canceled. Like, so it's nice and refreshing to see something like this where it's like, oh, you did something bad. You're obviously not a bad person though. So it's great.
Can I just like take a minute to talk about like how like pretty Poppy's hair looks real quick? And you know, the next panel after that, like, Lily makes her hair look so nice. Like, I need somebody whoever's doing Poppy's hair in this webtoon needs to come and do my hair because I am terrible at doing my own hair, but her hair looks so good. You can even like see the like sheen off of it, you know, like the reflection of the light. It's just such a well-drawn panel.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like Lily's like her highlights, her shading, it's like on point because that's what's really making everything pop. Like it's subtle, like in Poppy's face, it's very subtle, but you can see the shadowing. You can see all of that to really define her face, which is making all of her other features, especially her eyes, just like blow up.
Oh yeah, like even like the slight blush in her cheeks.
Yeah.
Like
and her little blush, you know, little color in her nose.
I don't know if you can see it really well, but I'm pretty sure that you can see Ben's shadow on Poppy in this panel. Like
right here, yeah.
Like you like that is such crazy attention to detail there.
For sure. And she's just so talented.
Oh,
she's so insanely talented.
My darling husband bought my charger for the tablet, which is dying. So
nice.
It's okay. My husband's messaging me like, "Hey, can I get my stuff in here?" So my husband's doing the same thing.
I got it. I asked him to get it for me, so he was nice. So Poppy praises him for it, which is also wonderful. You know, when someone does something that's hard, you want to encourage that behavior again and make sure that he feels validated for taking that step. And she says, I think that's a really mature decision, Ben. Pretty sure your mom would be relieved if she knew. And again, but he has to be that obnoxious teenager. He just goes right back. He's like, yeah, sure. Would you quit being so perky and cheerful? It's really annoying. Slurp.
You know what's so funny? He kind of reminds me of like what we've seen from Tora as a teenager. Like that's kind of the mentality of how I see like how he acts
Yeah.
Right? Of like,
It's totally like how Tora was acting towards Joe.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
totally.
Exactly.
Yes.
Like Joe's trying to be all nice and do all this shit, and Tora's like, "Fuck you."
Yeah.
With his broken jaw, and he can't even speak correctly.
Yep.
Yeah, it's exactly the same. And then there goes Poppy with her reparenting. She doesn't even realize she's doing it. You know, it's like
Poppy is definitely the mom of the group.
yeah, yeah.
But she does say, "Excuse me." Now, like everything behind her is black, and you know her face is like indignant.
Yeah, but I love it because she won't take someone's shit still.
Mhm.
It's
Exactly.
great.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a balance. It's like the you know you don't want to get all walked over, but you also want to be understanding.
Yeah.
So Ben tells her what he's thinking and why he's kind of talks that way. And he says, "You've got your life laid out in front of you. It's easy being optimistic in your position." And then Poppy's like, "My position? Like you even know what position I'm in?" Which is again, very valid point. And he says, "An easier one than mine, I'll bet." And now Poppy has a moment of insight. And she says, "Ben's statement sounds kind of familiar." And she thinks back to when Erdine was saying, "Oh, she's been following these free G-Tube workout videos for months. She should get a gym membership." And Poppy's like, "I can't afford one, my privileged affluent friend." And she realized that she was judging Erdine back then. That, you know, Erdine didn't understand what she was going through. And she was saying, "Oh, Erdine is more privileged than me." And she realizes Ben thinks she's more privileged than him. And, you know, it's always hard. My mother-in-law, apparently when my husband was growing up, always told him that for a rich little girl, if she doesn't get a pony for her 8-year-old birthday, her sorrow and sadness could be the same as like a little boy from a poor family who doesn't get like basic clothing, because it is all relative and like it's based on how you grew up and what your expectations are. So you might look at her and say like, "Oh, you're so spoiled brat," and yeah, maybe she is, but her feelings are real to her, you know. So Poppy is going through a difficult time, and can you objectively say Ben's life is more difficult? Hard to judge. I don't know, you know. Yes, like in many ways he probably comes from a poor background. I don't know anything about his dad if he's around, but you know, his mom is
definitely
loving.
like single mom status for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And Poppy had a single dad, but they seem materially comfortable. They don't seem to have struggled with money that we know of yet. And her grandma was there and she was very loving. And, you know, she didn't grow up with violence in her life that Ben appears to have grown up in. So Poppy's like, "What are you talking about? I had a hard life and I struggle." And that's true. But, you know, Ben feels like he struggled more.
Yeah.
So it's,
She even says that too in the next panel. She's like, "Not to turn this into a race to the bottom or anything."
Yeah.
right. At least your mom is still around. Mine just up and left us. And she doesn't know anything about his dad, right? But you know, and then she realizes I've been making the same kind of assumptions about Erdine and others like her, but it doesn't feel so good when someone else assumes I'm having an easy time just because I seem to be in a better position than them. My bad, Dean. I guess I really am kind of judgy. And it's just, you know, it's just a really good lesson where, you know, you never know what anyone's going through, no matter what they look like on the outside. You really, really don't. And you know, it's hard to make judgments and compare like who has it worse. You can't really make that call. You're not in their heart. You don't know how they feel it. You don't know how they experience it. So it's just a lesson in to be kind, you know.
So at least we know that her parents got divorced.
Right? So he asked if your parents got divorced. She's like, "Apparently they did." It's just interesting. So does that
I like his funny.
Yeah.
I love that he played on it too.
I was wondering why it was split up that way. I was like, is she just being like apparently like she's being annoying, like because she's like annoyed that they got divorced? I get it.
Get it now?
Okay. You know, I even read in the Patreon comments, someone wrote, "Oh, that was a great pun." I was like, where was the pun? I didn't see a pun.
The other thing too is I really enjoy the attention to detail in this moment too, right? Because we've got it where he says like, you know, the pun, and then you can see on the ground, you know, skittering by is the bug. I believe it's a cockroach.
Definitely a cockroach.
Oh,
That's definitely a cockroach.
I hate cockroaches so
because
much.
if
Like,
it was a spider, I don't think people's reaction would be as severe.
no, cockroaches are
It's
just
something about if I can handle any other kind of bug being around me. I truly can. I'm always like, "Oh, spider, go ahead and live in my house." Go and eat those other little insects. I'm good with that. As soon as I see a cockroach, I'm like, no, dog, dog.
Yeah. They
But
really like wet areas. So, and I lived right by the beach, so there was always cockroaches. It was
Oh,
so
no.
gross.
Rough.
Growing up, there was so many.
yeah, no, I live where there's so much because I live in a row house, so all the houses are connected and they're all super super old. Like our house is over 100 years old. Like all of the houses are like that, and there's so much road construction and development happening that it's just they got to go somewhere. They got to go somewhere.
And that's the thing too, like in my mentality when it comes to like roaches, like I don't tell the apartment building I lived in before we moved into this house had roaches, like bad roaches, right? And it was like, oh, I tried everything to get rid of these damn things, but I
They're
did not tell
awful.
any. Oh, I know. And I didn't tell anybody about it because there is like this mentality that if you have roaches, you're like gross
Dirty.
or something, or
They're
you're
dirty,
dirty.
yeah.
But like once you
They
get them,
literally live everywhere.
I know.
They
Like
won't
once you get
die
them, it's
either.
impossible to get rid of them. And
Yeah, 'cause
when
they
you
don't
do
die.
try to, yeah, exactly. And so for anybody out there, if this is a problem that you're dealing with, do not feel bad because so many people are dealing with it. It's okay.
Yeah.
Call a
No.
professional. None,
Yeah.
like none of the products you can buy at the store will work. You need to
Dude,
call
even
a
professionals
professional.
can't even get rid of them completely.
No.
I know.
You have
if
to
you-
have like such a sealed up house, which is
Burn it down.
impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I lived in Memphis, and Memphis had a ton of cockroaches. And there was back when I lived in Memphis, I had like less stuff going on in my life. I used to clean the house, not dying, for 3 hours a night. I was insane. Like I was a crazy neat freak, and we had tons of cockroaches. So like, yes,
Yeah.
it was not
Oh,
correlated to cleanliness.
Yeah. No. Like
Well,
like where my parents grew up in the Philippines, and so they get those tropical
Ooh.
size
Oh,
cockroaches
yeah.
where they're 4 inches
Oh my god.
long, and then they're like 4-inch long antennas as well.
No, thank
Why?
you.
You know, and my mom grew up very like well off, and so their house was always tended to and always nice, but it didn't matter. Them giant cockroaches, if they want to get in, they're gonna get in. And it's just
It's crazy.
I saw
to
one
me
when I was in the
how
Philippines. I was like, I can't do this.
they are literally everywhere. I mean, they're here in the States. They're like in islands in the middle of the ocean. Like
They're everywhere.
they're everywhere.
Everywhere.
They will live longer than us, that's for sure.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Well, as Wally proved. Anywho, okay,
Yes.
so this cockroach is scuttling up Ben's leg. He doesn't realize it. And he's like, oh, that was plenty. Sorry, didn't mean to bring it up. She's like, it's fine. I don't remember much anymore. You still sound salty about it. She's like, well, gee, Ben, you must be real popular with the ladies.
She is so annoyed with this kid. She is so annoyed with him. She is just making her way through. Like-
Quincy needs to hit him around a few times.
I
Like,
know.
Yep. And he's like, well, you know what they say. And he scratches his leg because he felt that itch. And he's like, misery loves compa. And then he sees the cockroach on his hand and arm. And he's
Hands down, I would react the exact same way.
yeah, he's like,
Oh, without realizing it so fast.
that bowl of soup, noodles
Such a
flying all over
realistic
the
reaction.
place.
This was just so great, though. It's such
Yeah,
a.
it's the best.
Oh my god, that is everyone's reaction. Everyone's.
And
It
his
doesn't-
bowl.
Mm-mm.
It was so gross, so gross. So his bowl splatters all over the pant leg and shoes, fancy shoes of this guy. And we see the guy from the back. He's wearing this red suit and he's got green hair and tons of earrings on his ear. And like his head is bald, but then he has like a little bit of green hair on top. And that's where we end with that scene. What's gonna happen?
Yeah.
And now, guys, we move to Game Hall. And we are going to see a face we haven't seen in a while.
He's back.
We have
Beautiful,
these games,
beautiful
we have a
face.
pool table, and then we have. I'm
His
sorry,
lips.
we
The
have-
lips.
No, okay, so I love how Lily did this because when she first introduced us to Tora, it was just in segments the same way, but it started with his eyes. And now she's doing it in segments, but starting with his lips. I was like, this woman.
I did not think I would react this way to seeing Tora again. Let's just say.
She can't just show us his face first because we would all hyperventilate too fast. So she goes
dead. There would be no more Midnight Popular fans. We would all die.
If she just started off with that face. So she's slowly introducing Tora to us. I love that. I love that. She's true. She's right. It's like we will die if it started off just his face.
And she's putting like also, panels. Sorry, go ahead.
It's also kind of a tease. You just see like him, and you can't even see his hand. His hand is kind of blurry. You just see like
that
all you can see.
Hand.
Yes. But you know, it's kind of a tease because like she just shows a little bit of it, and you're thinking like, oh, maybe so the next panel you see the ball.
Like 5 panels to build us up because we need a breather.
And then
it's like again, she's getting us ready. She's like, just wait, it's coming. He's coming. It's coming.
It's good. It's gonna be here soon.
Is it a breather or is it a tease?
And then we're rewarded.
Oh my god.
Okay, so I need to know how many of us put this as a screensaver of some sort.
I don't.
I didn't. My background is Jonghyun from SHINee, and it will probably stay that way for a while. But I do cycle out sometimes, so eventually we'll get to Tora. But you know, right now, I've been listening to SHINee a lot lately.
I can't get rid of this.
Your nephew?
This is my nephew. I can't get rid of this hair.
Oh,
I can't
so cute.
this hair is so perfect.
No, mine's just flowers. Yeah, I change mine every half a year, maybe. I don't change it.
I can't show mine because it's from another panel that is not yet a few chapters ahead.
Uh-huh.
So I can't show it. But
so just to be fair, we all fast passed that night, right? Within like the first 10 minutes.
100%.
Like, okay. All right.
Yeah.
I went through those coins like it was like
I'm sure that's like oh my gosh. Yeah. Everyone was just making them go away, showering Lily with all that money, all them dollars.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I had been saving, so I do Google rewards, and whenever like I do it, like I get anywhere from like 10 cents rewards to however. Well, you could use it in the Google Play Store. So I used my points. I waited up until I had like $30 and I just bought like a whole bunch. I've been saving like for months and used it and I used it to like buy like all the coins pretty much. So that I'm like, okay, we're good for a while. Okay, I can get through, because I was like, I know she's coming back, so I know here goes all my coins. So
Love it.
No, seriously, it's one of those things where it's like there were like other webtoons that I spent coins on where I was like, you know what? I need to really manage my coins right now because I'm going to have to use them for more important reasons.
I'm at a point where I only use my coins on Lore Olympus and Midnight Poppyland, and that is it.
I do Lore Olympus because obviously.
Oh yeah, that was my first love when it came to webtoons.
Yeah, that's actually what I started reading first on webtoons. So, and then and Purple. I still can't say the last part.
Hyacinth. It's like
that one.
Cynthia, like Hyacinth.
I might have actually planted purple hyacinths in my garden this spring because of that.
Oh my gosh, me too. Yeah.
But yeah, I actually have been, so I have like my husband and I, we have just like a fun budget for like, we have like a set amount that we can spend every month. And when I realized that when she announced like, oh, Midnight Poppyland is coming back, that's why I was saving up my coins, because I was like, SM Entertainment was like having all the comebacks, so I spent all my budget on like K-pop stuff, and I'm like, I don't have enough coins. So yeah, I budgeted my my Google rewards until I could buy like a crap ton of coins at once, so that I could fast pass Midnight Poppyland. So here we are.
Love it.
Yeah.
So, and the detail here, I mean, I was just trying to imitate the way his fingers are because they're just stunning. Like I just noticed it right away. That his fingers are like bent perfectly.
I
It's like,
know.
how does this man have such gorgeous hands? How? Like they're square and beautiful.
I
Lily's
have tried to drive hands. It's
attention
so
to
hard.
anatomy is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Like she understands anatomy so well. She understands lighting so well. She's just and it's just insane. She's just she is Queen Lily for a reason.
Oh yeah.
God.
So he is playing against this other guy who he's clearly, he's just shot like a hole in the corner or whatever. And this other guy is like, God damn it. And he's like, they're like, haha, Neko-Chan didn't even get a turn this round. And Emily pointed out that Neko means cat. So cat, tiger, right? He's like, man, Neko-Chan, you really suck. Well, you know, what the fuck? You lost 5 races in a row. Oh, come on, bro. And he's really cute. He's like, he has his mustache and this like kimono-like thing. And he's like, you don't even wager all this money anymore. Do you have to really go this hard? So we know, by the way, it seems that Tora he used to use this as a way of getting money. Like, it seems like he needed money for something. And now they're telling him, like, you have enough money, you don't need it anymore. So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
What did he need the money for before? Like, was Vincent not paying him enough? Was he saving up for something? Like, kind of like spend with candy? Who knows?
I mean, he was like, before he was where he is now, I'm sure he was more or less like a low level, like, clan member where he's just simply not making enough money. And so, and you're 18, 19 years old going to pool halls and you can hustle people, you're gonna hustle people.
That's what a lot of people started, right?
Yeah.
I have actually done that before, but it was never for money. I actually I lived in an area with a lot of Navy SEALs, and I would sometimes like get their like sunglasses or their watches and stuff like that because they were nice. Like they had like Oakleys and stuff like that. So I was like,
yeah. And they probably underestimated you and didn't think you could play as well as them. And then you're like, bitch, let me show you. I love that. I love when that happens.
Bitch better have my money.
Yeah, I love when that happens. I'm like, I'm gonna show you how well I know this shit better than you know this shit, Mr. Man.
Well, no, I would always
tough man.
My thing was I always play like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. Ha 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 ha. And then they'd like take it, and then they'd be like, oh, they go easy on me. And then I'd be like, oh, what's that? I just crazy. I just got the, I just managed to beat you.
Like, I just really understand angles well. I didn't know I knew angles in physics so well, but I guess I do.
I'm like that with I was like that with bowling. Like when it comes to pool, I'm garbage at it, but bowling, I'm pretty good.
I suck at bowling. I can't bowl. Bocce ball I'm good at.
Bocce ball's so fun.
I don't know what that is.
It's
bocce ball is so fun. It has a little, I love
it's a little queer bocce ball.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he's counting the money, and then Tora looks back at him with that like side eye, and he's like, "Oh, old habit, sorry," and he just throws the money back at him. He's like, "Keep your money." Oh, there goes a Tora.
I love his shocked face. This Neko-Chan's shocked face. He's like, what?
Right?
What? You're
cute.
Need my money.
With his like half shaved off eyebrows. Anybody notice that?
Yeah.
Have we seen Neko-Chan before?
I think he was posted
if you're on
as
Patreon,
you've
seen
yeah, that's why
before.
He looks familiar, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she showed his face. Lily posted his face on Patreon a few months ago.
Oh, that's
and said it was one of Tora's childhood friends.
Okay.
Yeah. So
childhood friends. What the
guys,
heck happened?
He has friends.
What the heck happened in Neko-Chan versus Tora? Like somebody's genes are not doing justice to them. Tora must have really good genes because that Neko-Chan looks way older.
Cute. He looks cute. I'll say that.
He's cute, but he does look way older. It's the eyebrows. It's the lack of eyebrows.
It's the mustache. If he wouldn't wear a mustache, he wouldn't look that old. If you took away the
porn stash and filled in his eyebrows, he would totally look younger.
Yeah.
Yes. Homeboy just needs to like figure out, like go to a makeup artist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But then I love how he's still questioning. He's like, He told me to keep my money? Like, what?
And then he's like, did that ever just get laid?
Well,
No.
we know.
Tora clearly is never this happy.
Yeah. But again, still the attention to detail to his face is so good.
It
It is
is.
so good.
I actually so the mustache is what got me, is that like it was like perfectly even on both sides. And I've been watching this K-drama called Bosam, and it's got Jung Il-woo in it, and he's wearing a mustache, and it's been killing me because the entire time the makeup artist put like one side a little bit too long than the other, and I'm just like, just like, really, but Lily got it right. And I'm sitting there, I remember, because I was like, I had just watched an episode before this dropped, and I was like, oh, let me look. And then I was like reading it, and I was like, Lily could figure it out.
Mhm.
Come on, stylists over at whoever's doing that. So that's what I noticed.
Yeah, so he's exultant, and they're like, better think twice before you challenge a big bro, Neko-Chan. Yeah, go home, old man. What's with all these people disrespecting older people right now?
I know.
Yeah, these damn kids on my
These little hoodlums don't know any respect.
Yeah, and he's like, who are you calling old man? I pole rule the Irish street. Snooker scene? What's a snooker?
I don't know what a snooker is.
Either.
I think it's like another form of pool.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
Yeah. Should Google this. Like somebody want to Google in the background. He's like, I rule the Irish street snooker scene with your big bro when you babies were still in diapers. Now shut up before I kick y'all out of my shop. So it's his shop. Okay, nice. Yeah, say whatever you want, Neko-Chan. You know you'll miss us if we're really gone. He's like my mom, always threatening to do shit to you, but they never do it. You stinking brats. Tora, where the hell did he go? Cute, just a cute interaction.
So snooker is basically pool, but just like a British way of saying it.
Okay.
Interesting.
Cool,
Huh.
cool.
Yeah, I'm looking that up. And I was like, this looks a whole lot like pool still.
Yeah, that makes me think that there's like got to be like a Singapore influence on there, because Singapore was a British colony for like ever. So I'm kind of almost wondering if that's
Or Hong Kong.
Oh,
But I've
that's
always
true.
had Singapore in my mind.
Yeah.
I've always had Singapore in my mind.
Oh, that's
and
what I
then,
mean too.
It's just because it has so many different cultures also like mixed in to it. So I'm like, yes, I can see how it can be like Singapore.
yeah, so anyway, we now go back to Ben and Poppy. They're sitting there frozen, and all these thugs are suddenly congregating around their table. And Poppy's like, ooh, it's like they have this like shizzle expression on their face. And the guy stands up, his shoes are clacking. You could just see he's the kind of guy who wants like attention. He's like clack, clack, clack. And they're still frozen. Ben's like this, his arms are in front of him. And
Ben is petrified frozen.
The guy smashes his foot on Ben's hand, which is on his thigh. And Ben's like, oh, I know, poor guy, right? He's such a
Poor kid.
Mm-hmm. And he's just like hunched over, right? He doesn't react. And he's like, what are you waiting for? Says the pink suited dude. And then we see his face.
I mean, he is Joker reject.
Yes.
He does. Oh, he does look like that. Oh my gosh.
He's Joker reject. He's Jared Leto Joker reject.
Oh
Just
my
like
God,
the
you're
type of
right.
Joker you would order from wish.com.
Yes, that was
Walmart off-brand Joker.
Oh, good. So good. Yeah, that's about right.
That is off-brand Joker, though. This is the Joker you get from wish.com. That's why you never shop at wish.com, people. Never.
Oh, I have. I 100% understand what you're saying.
And I hope we recognize this guy, because this guy was in episode 10. He was the guy in the Waffle House who was cleaning up stuff because he wanted to get some money.
Bullshit to his mom.
Yeah, he was horrible to his mom, and found the DVD with Suzuki. And
I wonder if that's where he got the money to buy this.
Pretty sure.
Because he definitely looked like a bum that was like hard for cash.
Yeah.
Like taking shit from his mom's place.
Yep.
Now he has a fancy suit and shoes. Yeah, he definitely was the one that like
He
sold that video.
something to someone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yes, and now he thinks he's hot stuff.
Yeah.
Well, he probably
Taking
always
on
thought
a
he was hot stuff.
child.
Yeah.
And they're standing around. There's like so many people standing around there. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this guy, the vendor at the food shop, he's like, what are those punks doing here? It's civilian area. Who are they? 9-daggers? And this other guy who's out of frame says, nah, I heard the 9s are finally playing nice thanks to some assassination attempt. Yes, we know who did that. And, that was Tora in 36 when Vincent, told him to kill those people, and he only, graced them. And they're like, thank God for that. Business wouldn't survive a full-on clan war, let me tell you that. And they're like, oh, so just regular street rats. You know how it is, the louder, the lower, which is a very good insight. And he's like, stay down, old man. Those crooks will never leave us in peace if we stop them. They're playing cards, by the way, I just noticed. And there's something very significant. They're like, God damn, if only old Alice's boy was still in charge of this area. Which one? The big one or the little one? They're both big lads, aren't they? Last time I saw them. Okay, the fat cop or the Baltimore kid. So now we know that both, Tora was called Alice's boy.
Yeah. I also love how like Lily low-key just kind of like smoothed out the clan war right there.
Yeah.
She low-key smoothed it out and be like, oh, all right, no more clan war right now. No more 9-daggers? All right, cool. Loki's just done. She's like, that's not a focus right now.
Yeah.
We got other things to worry about.
Yeah. I love that. I love that she did that.
And they say that he's like, he continues, he has both of them. And then the guy says James Bond, which I didn't know what it was, but apparently it's like when you win at a card game. And he says, they were the only ones who gave a damn about the little guys like us. And that's just so beautiful.
I can totally see it too. I bet. You could tell. Yeah. Ugh. Ah, Tora.
That's sad. And we go back to the scene. They're frozen. One guy puts his arms on Ben's shoulders. He's sweating bullets. He's sweating. She has this very determined look on her face. And she puts her hand on her bag. And meanwhile, we're continuing with the street vendor's thoughts or verbalizations. And he says, if either one of those boys was here, he would have taken care of those punks easily. And now flip to the other boy. And
the game hall.
Right, outside of the game hall. And Tora steps outside. He lights a cigarette. And we have this beautiful shot of him out of the buildings. There's birds flying in the sunset, smoke rising up around him.
Him being thicker than a Snickers.
What did he say?
I said him being thicker than a Snickers.
Yeah. I mean, that jacket is pretty tight on him.
Yeah, it's well fitted.
So Patty analyzed this alleyway. She was like, he's in between two buildings. He's in between two worlds. And then we see Poppy running towards him. So it's again like the classic, two worlds meeting, two different worlds coming together.
Yeah.
And we see Poppy running, Tora looking towards her with that gorgeous face with the cigarette. And she's like, run! It's this cute pin, adorable. She got guys behind her. And that's how we end.
So good.
The sweat and like the red face, you can tell that she's like going. But you can still see it's like him. Obviously, you can still see the smoke and stuff like that. It's him looking at her through all the smoke and stuff.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Well, he looks very shocked because he probably did not expect to see her running towards him and in
Aries Street.
And yet it's somehow very fitting because Poppy is always getting into a little bit of trouble.
No, but again, what I love, the symbolism that Lily does, God, it's like when the first time they meet was, and like, the first episode of first season, when they first meet, it's in Poppy's world. And now, like full on, straight up Poppy's world. Like her hometown, countryside, cute little train station thing, like, and then you move over, premiere of second season, and it's like they're colliding in his world. Like, I fucking love that. I love that.
I didn't even think about that. We started off in Poppy's world and Poppy's, town and stuff like that. Now we're starting off this season in Tora's neck of the woods now.
No, but it's again with the way it's symbolized, like it showing that, first season really focused on Tora entering Poppy's world and figuring out, how do I live a life around civilians? Like, how do I do that? How do I live my life in the day? In the daylight, in brightness, in sunshine, in office buildings, and now it's Poppy, like, and then it's like Lily is setting it up, showing that now it's Poppy's turn to immerse herself into Tora's world. Yep. And that's just, I love it.
Chills.
It's gorgeous. Yeah.
It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful.
Speaking of beautiful, did you see her outfit and just all the attention detail? Even in the last panel here, you can see the strap from her purse, the
and
belt.
Her blouse is all
her dress just whoosh.
Yeah.
I would totally wear that outfit.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I would wear it with boots, but I would totally wear that outfit.
Oh, it'd be so cute.
Can I just wear Poppy's wardrobe sometimes?
I really want
have a wardrobe between Poppy and Erdine. I'm good.
I really want Lily to collab with a designer and have a Midnight Poppyland line.
Oh my gosh! We would all
you guys, you have to check out Casey Jaren's Instagram, because she is a seamstress. I don't know if professionally or just for hobby. She has sewed several of Poppy's outfits for herself. It is so cool. She put the outfit, the fabric, and she sewed it for herself. Really, really
I
cool.
wish I was that talented.
Wait, who is this?
Casey Jaren.
Oh yeah. I've seen. She's also done what is it? Yu's shirt, his little tropical shirt before.
Yes. She did that. I think she did the yellow Poppy's yellow shirt. She did the cactus shirt. She's pretty cool.
I will have to follow on Instagram.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
So I have another episode coming up soon. So what are your final thoughts on this episode?
I think it's a great opener. It's not what again, I didn't know what to expect, but it was definitely not what I expected. But
it wasn't what I expected either.
I think it was a very, very just appropriate first episode of the season, just because of the way she manages to tie in what happened, and then throw all these symbolisms in there that if you're just a diehard, you would really get it.
I also realized that it was really long, she definitely this, for me at least, I was I've been reading other comics and stuff like that, and to me it seemed oh man, Lily going out of the bank giving us a long episode.
I gotta be real, Lily's episodes are usually very long.
They're
compared
very
to
long compared to other tunes.
Yeah, Lily does so much more in her episodes than some of the other ones that I've seen, and because there's that attention to detail, and I guess my thoughts with this thing is it's a really good opener to set the scene, and also the framing of different things, having those two guys at the shop explaining a little bit more of the details behind the scenes, right? And just using that to kind of set the scene, and then we go into this cliffhanger where you're unless you fast passed maybe, but
we did.
It really, which we all did.
Yeah.
But it is a good start to be oh my god, I want more now.
This was the free episode. Let me tell you, I would have even paid for it, because I feel that with that it's completely worth the coins, 100%, which is why I fast pass it and why I was so into making sure I had all the coins, but because it is 100% worth the spending of coins, because you're going to get a pretty long episode and a very just visually stunning episode.
Yeah. During her hiatus, I've gotten into just reading a lot of fluff webtoons just to like, you know, kill time and not really like invest too much of my brain power into them, but I'll just like, you know, makes me smile and laugh and get all giggly and shit. But it's like, you know, and I read all these, I'm just like, there's still like, there is still nothing out there. There is nothing out there like Midnight Poppyland, as far as like the artwork is concerned and the storytelling.
Agreed.
Nothing is like Midnight Poppyland.
Like, man, like I even had my husband start reading Midnight Poppyland, and he like, you know, he was laughing. He calls Tora Muscles McGee, but you know, like,
but we'll do Real Husbands of Midnight Poppyland edition 2.
Oh yeah, you should do a second one.
I really
ask him.
I really do feel that, like you saying that there really is nothing that compares to Midnight Poppyland. Like, I don't know what it is, like having read like the canvas, and obviously it's vastly different, but I just, when I first discovered it, like all those like years at this point, you know, ago, like I just knew that there was something special about this series compared to other ones, that I was like, oh, I need to know everything about this. Like I've been I was a Patreon like pretty much as soon as I discovered it, because I was like, I've been following this for so oh yeah, I knew. I was like, I am in deep.
Yeah.
My husband was like, why are you subscribed to the not safe for work section? You know, like he's like, you know, I was like, because Lily deserves my money, man.
It's true.
She does. Like I buy all these like little things and stuff like that, especially during the hiatus, just because I'm like, well, where else is she getting her money other than from Patreon? So I just bought a bunch of little things from Redbubble just to support.
Yeah,
that's a great idea. I actually have like a pretty significantly sized Redbubble cart right now full of stickers and stuff like that. And I was like,
I have so many stickers. I have nowhere to put them. I have so many stickers just because I just want to support her.
I had this, you know, space on my water bottle that, you know, is just waiting for Midnight Poppyland. I've got I got a tablet, you know, Samsung tablet, and we just got the, you know, the basic black you know, cover for it. And I actually I flew home in January, and I almost left my tablet on the in the rental car because I was like, I couldn't see it because it was all black, and I was like, putting stickers on this thing so that I can see it now. So.
Well, guys, I gotta go, but thank you so much. This was a blast as usual, and I'm so excited that we kicked off our very first episode of Midnight Poppyland season 2, and yeah, looking forward to doing many more.
Yeah,
sounds good.
So much fun.
Yep, thanks so much. See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.